All right, welcome everyone. We're live here today for our first Global Goalkeeper Workshop Learning Series show. I want to thank both Giuseppe and Coach Leandro for collaborating with this new initiative that we've been working on. And I would like to also take the opportunity to, if you don't mind, give me an opportunity here to make sure we are all okay with our audio. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah? Everything's good?
Yes.
You guys hear okay? Okay. Are you guys looking at on the channel? Is the channel doing okay? Very well. So without further ado, what we want to start with is to take you guys into the world of goalkeeping and what we believe will be the best way to start changing the goalkeeper paradigm, which is basically helping everyone understand that there's a different way that we can incorporate different aspects of training and of viewing the game, and also having the opportunity to understand what this will or how it will affect our training sessions. So without further ado, I will have Coach Leandro get into his presentation, which will be starting in 1, and then we'll get back into questions afterwards. But for the meantime, feel free to dive into what we feel is going to give you guys a different look into how goalkeeping can be coached. Here we go.
Changing the goalkeeper paradigm is the title of this presentation, where our idea is to try to transfer to you from where we stand to analyze the modern goalkeeper in today's football. This is a presentation from the persons who is speaking to you. My name is Leandro Cortizo. For those who don't know me, I have been a professional coach for more than 14 years, and since 2010, we founded Shepherd, a formative training center for goalkeeper in the city of La Plata in Argentina, a methodological training school for professional and amateur goalkeeper of all age. With me is Andres Gomez, who accompanied me in this project. We are in together. He's the co-founder of Keeper Max, and it's a pleasure to be here with Giuseppe Weller, a very renowned coach of Miami FC, who is our special guest at the workshop that we will hold on the 27 from December. In this presentation, we want to tell you something about we coach to experience together that day at Plantation in Florida. Okay, first of all, we're going to focus in this sport, which is football, soccer, in Argentina, football, which is a team game made up of the players that make up to team. But the one that we are mainly interested in is this one, with the goalkeeper. And if we think about the goalkeeper, we will understand that he's the only player in a team game who can take the ball with his hand in a limited area, box area or penalty area. And that logically, he has different technical and psychological qualities than the other player. Okay, the other player, the field player. So this reason that he needs, in addition to general training, and a specific integrated training, developing on what his needs and what quality he has to develop. Now, if we do an analysis of the game, in this case, we go to a stadium and sit down to watch a game, what you are going to see are two teams dresses differently and two individuals within choose area and dresses differently too. We are going to see is a field with a dimension and characteristics according to regulation, two goals to defend and this area where the goalkeeper are also dresses differently than the other 20 players, and they are the ones who can take the ball with your hands, no, inside the box area or the penalty area. And of two teams, one team is the teammate of one goalkeeper, and the other team is the rival. Okay, the objective of the game is mainly to try to score one more goal than the opponent in the corresponding goal. Okay, and we can see the goalkeeper in this way, prisoner of the penalty area of the box and away from his teammate, or we can also see, excuse me, him as a part of a system, as a part of the team, and with the advantage that he can take the ball with the hand inside the area and defending the goal, but always participating in the game just like his teammate. Okay. Now, the evolution of football has game models and forced a change in the interpretation of some roles. In the case of the goalkeeper, we currently need him to interpret the game, be quick in his decision, and effective in his resolution. And here, this two very important and current words appears, which are effective and efficient. Effective because he has to solve and avoid the goal, at the same time participate correctly with his team in the offensive position, and efficient because they have to try to do in the best way, spending less energy and in the shortest time possible. That's now we can say that in soccer or football, we cannot separate any player from the team. We cannot separate this player who dresses differently, the goalkeeper, from his fieldmate or teammate. Okay, and if we see this photo, surely we will all understand what is the essence of the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is flying, avoiding the most beautiful thing in football, no? The goal. But what is the most beautiful thing about the goalkeeper? Precisely about it, not goal. Okay, but currently the goalkeeper is also involved in the development of his team attack and is fundamental in the development of the beginning of ball position. Then we must think about the goalkeeper and two moments of the game, the offensive and defense moment. But now, if we think for a moment as well about the goalkeeper action, we understand the technique as a resolution tool, and we see it as such. But with the factor being the technical gesture, because the technical gesture is the completion of a moment where he had to intervene. But where are the factors that are present at the moment prior to the technical gesture and within that resolution? This is the question. This photo, in this photo, we will try to stand in the same place of the goalkeeper, because we can see everything he sees and about it. What is the most important? Perceive everything he perceives. In the famous cycle of perception action, where 18% of what we perceive enter through the eyes, The goalkeeper is going to perceive, he's going to carry out an analysis of the environment, he's going to make decision, he's going to execute, and within his execution and the decision he makes to act, his emotion will be included, what he's feeling at the moment in the game based on what is happening in the game, in the environment. And here the constraints of the game appears, the difficulty, the possibility of action, affordance, both for him and his teammate and rival, his history and his preconception, his previous training, and his tactical knowledge. All this shows his talent. But by that decision he made, the most important thing is that all this is happening, and that the meaning has to do with what is happening in the game environment. So if we understand that so many factors are included in each individual action, individual goalkeeper action, what we cannot do is leave out of training the context of the game and the interaction with the teammate and rivals, who will be choose, who influence their action. And this is the word that is being used prominently in the collective sport today, is this word context. Because by involving the interpreter of the interaction in the game, we see that each action has a reaction, and each action is conditioned by the action of the other member of the game. And here we will see an analysis of some game situation. We start with the defensive moment. We see the goalkeeper who, given the loss of possession of his team, recovers his position by changing his postural attitude, reposition himself, and resolve the shot. In this second situation, a lateral attack of the rival, fusion posture of the rival who is closed. Another player appears from begin and resolve the shoot, a close shoot. Another defensive situation, also with the loss of possession of the team. The goalkeeper reading is to recover towards the goal and face the close shoot near his goal. Okay, he understands that he cannot anticipate that duel, that what you want, and they resolve the action near to the goal. He understands this. And the last defensive, a fierce frontal shot situation. His attitude is to narrow the angle, repositioning to a second diagonal shoot, and resolve by deflecting to the corner. We move now on the offensive moment with one of the world's greatest exponents, Ederson, the famous 4-versus-2, with its defender on the inside midfielder, the inside pass that eliminates the pressure of the two forwards. Okay, another situation in position, pass to the goalkeeper, who in this case has the close option with marking and skip the sign in a long pass. Another with a new pass, rather pass with the goalkeeper, pass inside to eliminate the pressure, but the team does not progress. It again gives the option with his position, and now the pass inside eliminate the two players from the pressure. The last offensive situation, communication with the defender making the pass to the other central. The pass comes inside, and communication again to use that play as a third man and reach the team progression along the wing. And if we think about training, we will have two types of training. One is the global one, where the goalkeeper is integrated into the team, and another is the specific training, or with now we call in Argentina the entrenamiento específico, training specific training of the role of the goalkeeper with the one, and this is where we have the responsibility to choose what type of methodology we will use. Okay, the goalkeeper specific training allow us to precisely represent the variant of the game situation that are going to be presented to the goalkeeper, and through this to say their optimization. Because through training seek to optimize their performance in environment of less certainty, since we will only find uncertainty in the game, see, incertidumbre in Spanish. But in training, we will try to get ourselves out of that situation. Okay, only in the game we through the uncertainty, but in the training we go to make environment of less certainty. But it's very important that to train game situation, we identify them and make the variants that may arise to try to recreate him in a game environment, generating the condition in the training season so that the goalkeeper has the tools that he can later apply in the game. And we are not talking about anything other than this beautiful word context. And to generate that, all methodology needs real space and dimension. Here, not all of us have the field space where we do our work. It's logical, but if we had agreements, it's important to give it real reference of the environment where the goalkeeper moves. It's also essential to respect the execution time and sequence so that they are similar to the game. First hit, hits after control, more than one possibility of execution, logical continuity of a second ball. The ball in soccer does not magically appear in one side if it deviates to another side. Okay, try to be consistent with the continuity of the play and generate open situation with thus that will allow the goalkeeper to resolve depending on what is happening in the environment. And to conclude, understand that we must provide resolution to the goalkeeper in the different situations that may arise in the game, understanding their needs and try to contextualize the task, contextualizar in Spanish. And with the phrase that I generally end my conference, and that represent what we feel in the development of our profession, and it's especially that a small detail make big difference. Well, I leave it with Andres and Giuseppe, who will tell you that we will do on the December 27 in Plantation, Florida, and it has to do with the first event that we will hold together. That you thank you very much. Thank you very much for my help. I hope you understood my English, and I apologize for any errors. I hope we can meet personally with each of you. Thank you a lot for your time. Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias. Gracias a todos. Y Andrés, Giuseppe, los dejo con ustedes. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. You guys can hear me okay? Loud and clear?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, Andres.
Awesome. Please, I'll say it in Spanish and in English. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to send them out on the channel so we can start seeing those. But other than that, let me just translate that in Spanish. Por favor, los que tengan preguntas pueden ir pues preguntando en el chat que tenemos de YouTube y por ahí podemos ir organizando para poder responderle las preguntas. Por el momento, gracias a todos por haberse sintonizado y bueno, muy contentos de estar aquí acompañando en esta nueva iniciativa. So, to carry on, what I would like to get into right away, if you guys will, is Giuseppe, what was your take on, on pretty much several of the insights that Coach Leandro was going at? I mean, what struck me the most is, the whole part about the global and the specific part of training in both of those. I think it's very important to make a distinction on those two, because as goalkeeper trainers that we are, we do find ourselves with those challenges, right? Sometimes we want to train our goalkeepers individually, but sometimes the head coach wants them to do several activities. How do we find that balance? What do you think so far?
So finding the balance between specific training and also team training, which is the global training part about it. It always depends on the coach and your interactions with the coach and the time you have slotted in training. This past year, I was very fortunate. Even though we came out with a team, we never had the time beforehand to come out with a team. I was always allotted, 35 to 45 minutes of training. The other part that was important is that I had an abundance of extra goalkeepers called trainer goalkeepers that I could allow the first team to have if they were just doing some specific training for themselves, and I could take the number one and the number two goalkeeper and train them specifically, while the other goalkeepers complemented the team, and I was able to do the two. A few years ago, I also was in a spot where I wasn't given the time again, and then when I got on the field, we had to kind of move quickly. I was given basically sometimes 15 minutes, sometimes 20. So I had to compliment on those times. So it's, you're always a team member first with the team, and then you're a goalkeeper second. So you got to compliment the team, whatever the coach is asking for. And you have to find those moments to get it ready, no matter how much time you have or, the less time you have. So it's very important, yet your interactions and your ability to just be able to meet the team standards and the team's necessities according to the coach, and then work along with that and get everybody to buy into the same project. That's what's important, because you're never going to have, those moments where you could just have the goalkeepers for many hours. You have to be part of that team first, and then the goalkeepers second, and be able to balance the two out as best as you can and keep your goalkeepers in a strong spot mentally and physically at the same time.
Yeah, thank you for those insights, Coach Giuseppe. I think it's very so, as you have mentioned, and it also strikes me to see how, when Coach Leandro gets into the aspect of being a proactive goalkeeper or a reactive goalkeeper, how these insights really does tell us something else, right? Which is, when we're with the team, okay, we have to be very proactive. We have to. When we're on our own individual trainings, yeah, it's more about being reactive, but it's also, how do we complement both of these, and how do we bring both worlds together to make a more, holistic approach to goalkeeping, to a more realistic, game situation kind of goalkeeping training, that after all, it's kind of like what we want to do, right? We want to change this paradigm that it's only just about training and going through the drills. It's not just that, it's about the overall aspect of the game. How do we help these kids understand that the game is one thing and training is another thing? And making decisions is a big part of this whole thing. Making decisions. And it's about how to help them make decisions. How do I help them identify these decisions? What do you say about that, Coach Giuseppe?
Well, you bring up a good point about making decisions. I think, me personally, because I was in another career before, I was a goalkeeper coach. You make decisions every day. You make decisions when you get up, what you eat, what you do to yourself. It's important to recognize that in the locker room, because, good decisions come from outside the field first and then on the pitch later on. So if you have anybody who's not making great decisions, prehab, recovery, nutrition, how they maintain their daily lives on the outside of the game, you're probably not going to have great decisions on the field either. And it's a very important you balance it too, because there's this great term of good decisions. You have to make good decisions. Well, you also have to be trained in making good decisions. So if you can train good decisions from the outside, you're definitely probably going to get them on the inside. And good decisions come from repetitions of habits. And I teach this a lot. I always tell most of my students, it takes about 20 repetitions just to build a memory of what we're trying to do in a good decision. So just because you do it one time doesn't necessarily mean that you will create the habits. Habits take a long time. So to create great habits, you also have to instill a lot of repetition, and you also have to be very mindful of any bad habits that you have. It's going to take you hundreds of times to correct the bad habit to a good habit. So that's very important to understand.
And that's something I would like to get into here with Coach Leandro as well. And is, for instance, what I do notice in the game at the pro level, I see it in the college level. Sometimes, we as goalkeepers, depending what kind of tactical game we're playing with our coaches, right? Depending whether we have 3 in the back, 4 in the back, it all depends. But a lot of times we get caught in no man's land, whether we're playing off the line or on the line. Sometimes we get caught in the middle, and there's a whole lot of hesitation. And I think this all comes from reading the game, from really understanding how to approach that. So my question here is to Coach Leandro is, Coach Leandro, how does a goalkeeper do? In other words, when does he recognize when he has to? If he makes the decision to go out and then makes the decision to pull back in, when should he be pulling back in? What should he be looking for? What are those items that he should be looking for? Because a lot of times there's a hesitation. I'm coming out. I came out too early. Do I go back? Do I stay? How do you do that, Coach?
Yes.
How do you coach that at the pro level, as well as Giuseppe? I'll ask it to both of you guys. Decision making, right? It's all about decision making. Okay, they make the decision, they read what's going on, but what do you guys have to say?
You want me to answer?
You hear me?
Yeah.
Leandro?
Yeah.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, you could say Leandro, Coach Leandro.
Okay, no, because we had a question in Spanish too. Maybe I answer in Spanish and you translate into the English, because the Argentine and from Peru, Carlos asked me this question too, and maybe.
Sure. We can definitely do that as well. Yeah. So do you want to answer the question first that was asked on YouTube, and then we get into mine? Is that cool?
Okay.
Right.
It's okay. O sea, más que nada, Andrés, porque la misma pregunta estaban haciendo en el chat, y un saludo para Carlos desde Perú. Y bueno, en realidad tenía relación con esto que estabas diciendo, si quieres traducir, y tiene que ver sobre todo en cómo entender de qué forma podemos representar situaciones en el entrenamiento que sean aquellas que le permitan comportamientos y que se representen comportamientos a los porteros, y que sean los que después tengan que también tener en el juego. En realidad nosotros desde el entrenamiento, desde esta forma de contextualizar, lo que estamos haciendo es intentar generar hábitos y comportamientos. No es solamente repetir por repetir, sino que es intentar generar situaciones de juego que les permitan ir incorporando comportamientos en función de lo que está sucediendo. Y muchas veces eso que está sucediendo puede ser el tener una actitud proactiva de anticipar y achicar ante una situación, y ante una situación distinta o similar, no es el achicar el espacio, sino que es el reposicionarse y tomar tiempo, justamente porque es otro el contexto que se da dentro del juego, de las posibilidades de sus compañeros, de la posibilidad de lo que puede hacer, el portero también. Entonces, el paradigma este que estamos hablando nosotros, desde dónde estamos parados, tiene que ver justamente con esto, con tomar situaciones de juego, con intentar ver cuáles son los comportamientos que los porteros tienen que tener en función de lo que se les presenta, y eso desarrollarlo en el diseño de nuestras tareas. No sé si quieres traducir, que seguramente será mucho mejor para ti, y de paso fue la respuesta también para la gente que está escuchándonos en idioma español.
Gracias, profe. Coach Giuseppe, if you don't mind chiming in as well with me on this one, but I'll say a little bit of what he just mentioned, and I guess the whole idea here, going back to the original question I had asked Coach Leandro, is all about creating situations in the training where goalkeepers are forced to make these decisions, and therefore creating habits or good habits on these goalkeepers on these trainings. Is that correct, Giuseppe? Is that what Coach Leandro
Yes, but not just to create habits or replicate game scenarios. You have to also figure out what kind of goalkeeper decision, speed of a goalkeeper, the physicality of a goalkeeper, experience, how long. And most of the times when we're in training, you also have to ask yourself, is the goalkeeper always the one goalkeeper that's just on a 1v1 in a training scenario? Or do you have players to help out as defenders, or do you put extra goalkeepers in there to help out as a defender? Maybe you do, if you're lucky to have 5 goalkeepers plus a coach. Do you do a 2v3 in some scenario where the goalkeeper can position goalkeeper players as defenders and maybe make some good decisions in there? So it's one of those kind of areas, very complicated, but you train one piece at a time and you go through scenarios, and the game, it gives you the best evaluation of what to do in specific methods in training. So it's very important to understand what the goalkeeper looks like in game scenarios, so you can replicate those game scenarios in specific training, on 1v1s, if that's what you're looking for on 1v1s. So your evaluation is very important to know what your goalkeeper is about on the game, and also who they are as a person externally from the game itself.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for those that answer, Coach Giuseppe. Okay, going forward, I don't know if there's another question there, Leandro. Is there another question there? ¿Hay otra pregunta por ahí? ¿Sí?
Yes. Well, in the chat we have is with us Sergio Vizcaino is a trainer. Ojalá lo tengamos con nosotros, y bueno, acabo de escribir una pregunta. Si quieres, te la puedo pasar, o la quieres escribir.
Léela, por favor. Por favor.
Hablando de contextualización, la transmito en español, y dime, Sergio, si estoy equivocado. Cuando en la academia tenemos solamente arqueros que están representando mayormente, o sea, en la academia tenemos una situación donde no tenemos los jugadores de campo. Entonces tenemos exclusivamente, mayormente, arqueros y entrenadores de arqueros, ¿no? Y una de las cuestiones es no tener defensores, no tener mediocampistas, no tener delanteros en nuestra academia, lo que sucede en Spark, lo que sucede en Keeper Max, o lo que sucede en la academia de Giuseppe. Entonces, ¿cómo pueden ser creados estos ejercicios basándonos en situaciones abiertas, en lo que plantea Sergio? ¿Sí? Si tenemos solo arqueros, y acá empieza un tema que hemos tocado en otras charlas, que tiene que ver con los roles, con los arqueros que cumplan roles de otros jugadores, ¿no? Como mostrábamos ahí en el video, que mostré en ese pequeño fragmento de 1 hora, donde había arqueros, y yo también, y un asistente también, que representábamos los delanteros o representábamos muchas veces también los defensores, ¿sí? Entonces, ¿cómo podemos plantearlo, Giuseppe, desde si quieres traducirla al inglés la pregunta, y si después quiere contestarla para Giuseppe?
Andres, you want to translate real quick?
Translate.
Do you want to
what?
translate that real quick?
Well, you know, basically what he's getting at is how do we implement certain drills in our goalkeeping academies, right? When we are limited not only with space, but also with the fact that we may not have the forwards, the midfielders, the other players around that we would want to probably try to get some kind of drill going on where you know, it's kind of like game situation, right? So we want to go into the whole global part of it, right? Instead of just the independent goalkeeping. So that's kind of like what I'm getting at. Yeah.
So for me, what I do here, because I do know traditionally and culturally, a lot of clubs, and I'm not specific about talking about anybody specific, will take a goalkeeper and put them in the goal specifically just for shooting scenarios. So what happens on the whole situation with the youngster, the child from age 9 to like 13, 14, they don't get the foot skills. So when they come to me, I'm very, very a proponent of it's 80% with your feet, 20% with your hands. So we must use the ball on our feet a lot. So I get a lot of the youth, the 9-year-olds to the 12 to the 13, to play a lot with their feet within game scenarios, and then putting goalkeepers and rotating them in the goal in a specific drill. So players become also, goalkeepers become also players and understand how it is to maneuver around the field, because we tend to lose what a goalkeeper truly is nowadays because we talk about the paradigm, how things have changed in this modern way that we start to use our feet now, and we must become the player on the field. So the reality is that I think the percentage is very low on goalkeepers who can play really well on the back with their feet and understand the new paradigm of goalkeepers maneuvering the ball through the outside backs or through the center backs or through the midfield. How do you build that? You have to build that from the youth side of it. So as they grow older, they understand, and it's not so stressful, and it makes it easier for them to be a soccer player. Now, the other thing that I recognize is that I ask a lot of my academy players, my youth, how many of you do you watch a game a weekend or watch highlights of games around around the world? And the percentage is very low who raises their hands. So you don't also have the understanding of putting the training sessions together in the field. You also have a place where it's very hard, where kids come to you and are trying to learn the game of football or soccer, but don't watch the game on TV or don't watch it at all, and they just play it. So you're trying to instruct and showing them how to do things, but they also don't get the visual effects of a real live game because they do not watch. So you actually have to work a little bit harder on this to have them understand. So game scenarios with goalkeepers, if you have an abundance, is to always produce that. Now, I make it a habit that I used to do a lot of the training myself, and I used to do the reps. But now you're at the age of 9 to 10. I get the 9 to 10-year-olds, even if it's just they're not able to do that, to understand how to strike a ball, to volley balls, to help take passes and dribbles, to be able to make that training session good with the goalkeepers and rotating them. So they're not just getting goalkeeping scenarios, they're also getting player scenarios to be able to integrate and understand. And then at the end, I do push to tell them, look, you don't have to watch a game a weekend. Just take 2 or 3 highlights, watch it on TV over the weekend, so you understand when you come here what we're doing.
Excellent. Very well said, Coach. Yeah, I think that is something that should look into it very, very early in the development, and that's why creating these habits while they're young, I think, is really key, right? It's really key to help them understand what they should be doing and how to go about playing in the back now that it's more demanding for us goalkeepers to be out there. Changing gear for a bit, I would want to ask Coach Leandro, what's your take on goalkeeping academies? I mean, when we come to, as you mentioned, right? You mentioned sometimes we're limited to space when we're coaching out there. Sometimes we're limited to certain materials that we can work with. But what about the coaching ratio. What do you think the coaching ratio should be per goalkeeper?
In Spanish, please, Andrés. I don't know. Lo escucho bien, además.
Teniendo en cuenta que necesitamos, que la verdad es que muchas veces estamos limitados al espacio o muchas veces estamos limitados a material con el que podemos trabajar. Pero siempre hay limitaciones. Ahora, cuando hablamos del ratio de un arquero entrenando, de un profesor entrenando a cuántos arqueros, ¿cuál es ese ratio sano donde sí no queremos perder de vista el desarrollo y el detalle del arquero, pero también no podemos perder de vista ese balance, ¿cierto? Que necesitamos de cuál es ese ratio para mantenerlo balanceado, donde de pronto no es, ¿me entendés?
Yes, for example, at
Giuseppe, did you understand that one, Giuseppe? What's the ratio of goalkeeper coach to players? I mean, I've always said, I'll let you guys know. I mean, I've always said, more or less, one goalkeeper coach to 8 or 10. That's the way I have seen it. But you know, this can be challenged as to maybe 1 to 6, or it all depends. But
yes, at Cephar,
how do you guys see that?
For example, at Cephar, we have a ratio to the maximum 8 goalkeeper for trainer. Tenemos un máximo ideal de 8 arqueros. Entendemos que son 8 arqueros por entrenador. No perdemos de esta forma la calidad en cuanto al seguimiento y a la orientación. Entendemos que es un número máximo, es maximum number for the, pero muchas veces
it has to grow, right? Sometimes it can be up to 10.
Okay, yes.
It has to be up to 10 because of the space you're working with, or the level of the goalkeeper.
Sí, y muchas veces lo que nos pasa es que además del espacio tiene que ver mucho la tarea, y cuando tenemos más arqueros empezamos a diseñar, que es una de las problemáticas. Por suerte hay muchos chicos, tareas donde estén más involucrados, que es parte de esta pregunta también que hacía Sergio sobre cómo podíamos involucrar a los arqueros en diferentes roles, y todos van pasando, que también entendemos que hay una, más allá de la visión del portero, también tenemos una visión del portero que ve a su compañero portero comportándose en distintas situaciones y lo hace desde un rol distinto, lo hace desde el rol del defensor o el delantero. Lo puedes decir si quieres, vos lo vas a explicar mejor en inglés, ¿no?
Yeah, sometimes it's a fantastic approach to things. A lot of times, kids are not only learning based on what they're doing, they're learning by looking at their colleague, looking at their goalkeeping colleague. They're learning that way as well. So it's something to always take into account. Giuseppe, how did you understand that one?
Yeah, really simple, real simple. So Leandro has Chefart, which is a great academy, and you know there's a lot of goalkeepers that show up there. Years ago, I don't get as many as well. Lately, I'm starting to get them again. But the way I do it, when I have goalkeepers coming in, I don't ever tell the goalkeeper there's too many players or too many goalkeepers coming in. I can't handle it. What happens? So there was a time when I had about 20 to 25 goalkeepers come in, and I'm the only goalkeeper coach. So, and this happens now at the youth, where I have between the 9-year-olds and 12-year-olds, we'll all have sometimes 13 or 14. How do you handle that as a goalkeeper coach? Well, the one thing that I know that really works with the youth is that if you give them some roles, you can grab on to the ones that really know a little bit more than the others, and you can put them in the roles where they become they have autonomy to be like a coach with them, and it kind of creates leadership in that moment. So when I do have this and I have 10 to 12, 14, 15 goalkeepers, I can pick out 1 to 2 to 4 of them, even if I haven't seen them before, just based on, you know, their character, their personality, you know, and their disciplines. Is this the one that's going to really put a group together? And I'll create groups, whatever the number is, I'll break it down. If there's an odd number, I'll put one extra, whatever it is. And I'll have them do the same thing I do. So I'll take a group, I'll formulate, let's say there's 16 players. I take 4, right? No problem. So there's 12 left. And in those 12 left, I'll take 1 out of each group and I'll create them to be the leader of that group. And then little by little rotate into them, each group into that same leadership. And that way, when I get on the field, it's very disciplined. And I've done that for a few years now, where you can see where goalkeepers come on the field, they know exactly what we're going to do and how these leads, and they want to do that. Like, even though they want to catch balls and shot stop in the goal, they actually love to be leading in certain roles, whether you give them, volleys to hands, striking balls into the hands, 1 touches, 2 touches, creating high balls, put them out on service lines where they're actually service balls in. They become the coaches, and then you can leave them out there. And as a coach, I think literally I see it a lot where I see coaches, goalkeeper coaches, doing so much that it takes away the extra touches from a player on the field. So, for example, I've learned not to do so many volleys. It hurts me because I want to be the goalkeeper coach and keep my style going. But reality is, do I take away those repetitions for a player to do what I do? So you can put somebody in front of you and they can get 20 extra touches rather than you as a coach doing 20 touches. They need the touches more than we do, right? They're the ones that are being generated and created. We can pull back and just help instruct and teach. So that's the way I look at it. And to me, it's one of those kind of things. If you get stuck with so many players, break it down and find those players who can work for you and create the leadership roles at the same time.
Absolutely. I'll make a very quick analogy. Just if you look at how a karate or taekwondo, which is a discipline, a very sharp discipline, right, that we all know, you see it there, right? They learn from each other. The kids actually learn from each other. You don't have 20 instructors, 20 karate instructors. You don't have 20 taekwondo instructors. You have kids who are willing to learn, practicing their discipline, practicing their commitment, practicing their focus, right? That will eventually help them down the line when they need that focus, right? And also the confidence building, which is, hey, I'm helping someone else. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm making him a better goalkeeper, and he's going to make me a better goalkeeper. What do you think of that?
That's the concept. And that's the concept, is to do that. Be very disciplined. I'm about making sure that if you get it right, you'll also create great personalities and the ability to have a goalkeeper who will work for a team and a goalkeeper coach in a great way, rather than having a tough-minded way of, I don't need that. I need to do something else, and I don't like this goalkeeper coach. The piece about it is to create good goalkeepers and create great characters also within the game, so that they love the game, because there is a lot of sourness in the game today, and you don't want that. I want all the players who come to me to enjoy this game and not be sour about it years later, and that's the way I do it.
Thank you for sharing that, Coach Giuseppe. I want to also move gears here again, and I would like for Coach Leandro to get into the effective and efficient part of goalkeeping. I think this is very key, very important as we transition into this, because this is what we want to get into, right? We want to make sure we, this is what we were just relating to. How do we get these kids to stay focused, to understand that there's a difference between effective goalkeeping and efficient goalkeeping? And for that, you need that commitment, as Coach Giuseppe was just mentioning. So how do you see this, Leandro? What is the difference? And how do you incorporate this at the pro level in the Estudiantes de La Plata pro team?
For me, the difference on effective and efficient is the goalkeeper effective save the goal. Almost if he had efficient, he saved the goal and he spent menos energía. Él puede la diferencia grande entre eficacia y eficiencia, y es algo viejo, tiene que ver con aquel que puede resolver, que tiene la capacidad de resolver, que es lo que buscamos, pero sobre todo aquel que es más eficiente para resolver, va a poder ser más eficaz en situaciones más complejas. Entonces, el que es solo eficaz tendrá la capacidad de resolver, pero aquel que es eficiente podrá resolver y ser eficaz en situaciones mucho más complejas. Ahí creo yo que es la diferencia más grande en lo que tenemos que buscar, en que el arquero sea eficaz y eficiente, sobre todo. ¿Sí? If you want to translate to English, ¿no?
Giuseppe, can you help me out on that one, man?
Well, just looking at the PowerPoint there, like obviously you want to be, he talked about being effective and efficient at the same time. Those I think those run in parallel with each other, which is very important to remember. Like you got to have both, you know what I mean? You have to have the whole thing. And I think that's where it comes down to the mindset of the goalkeeper coach being able to enable the goalkeeper to be able to be on both sides of that whole effective and efficient with the whole entire scenario, where he's specific and also global with the training. It's very important to understand that, because at the end, that's what you're trying to create, to be able to build 11 players on the field, to be able to have that one piece resolved in the backside of the goal, right, in the box pretty much. So you want to be able to create both of those things. Now, there's a lot of, what we call efficient goalkeepers that can get in there and do the job, but can they affect the game as a player also, right? And that makes sense.
Yes.
So you want to be able to do that. Some goalkeepers are just good at being goal, but can they affect the outcome of the games? If you look at today's, top level goalkeepers, even in the MLS, you can see there are goalkeepers there that can actually are very efficient, number one, but that can affect the outcomes of the games. And that's important in the whole thing.
Yeah, that either they can get the shutout, or that they can either make the key save
Correct.
when it needs to be made. If it's 1-0 and it could have been 1-1.
Correct.
80th minute and they make the stop. Yeah, so that is the difference. Yeah, that is the difference. So
Andres, to finish my participation in English, no?
Yes.
And speaking of paradigm, someone like Guardiola say you learn the game by playing, okay? And so that what we have to recreate the game environment, the game situation to play. Dejemos que
You're doing well in English, by the way. Continue in English.
Okay.
Well.
Sí, no sé, pero it's the most beautiful thing in the football is to play, and we learn to play. We learn the game by playing, okay. Entonces necesitamos pensar y analizar el juego.
We need to think
y analizar el juego,
and analyze the game.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Para que después podamos, analizando el juego, recrear aquellas situaciones abiertas, en parte, que les permitan a los arqueros con el feedback with us, ¿sí? Con el feedback con nosotros, como entrenadores, que les permitan tener ese intercambio y que aparezcan esos hábitos y comportamientos que nosotros vamos a interceder también y vamos a intervenir para poder ayudarlos. Pero el pensamiento de paradigm is this. O sea, el pensamiento tiene que ser tiene que ser el de analizar el juego y pensar en las tareas, diseñar las tareas y nuestro trabajo de test con el pensamiento del juego mismo. ¿Sí? It's the play.
Okay, so in other words, it's all about recreating these game situations, right? That's what you're saying, Coach, right? Recreating these game situations and And what? What else would you add to that? Recreating these game situations and what else?
Well, Leandro, if I may, on this, what else? Here's one thing that happens in season compared to preseason. For example, we recreate the last game's evaluation. We put it back into the training play, but we also make sure that we can repeat these training systems, because obviously if something is incorrect or something that we want changed, we have to affect it and train it over and over again. So we tend to take a lot of the eval and put it right back into the specifics from the game scenario. But the game, like Leandro said, is going to bring out your decision making and how it goes for the goalkeeper and what they're seeing. You have to replicate these at the one-time unreal scenarios in training and make them real. So you actually have to pull them out. And that's what a lot of times in training sessions, you know, the more you can create on paper and put down to create what just happened, makes it more realistic for that goalkeeper, and to not fix the last game, but being able to go forward and adjust to certain particulars that you're talking about in your training scenario, to make sure that you can get these, you can be effective and efficient in those moments if it happens again. So you're creating the habits over.
And that's the whole point of changing the paradigm, right? That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
How do we start moving in towards this kind of analysis, implementation of training drills that are associated to that whole aspect of uncertainty, right? Let's train these uncertain moments, and let's go ahead.
I'm thinking the keeper into the system. Always.
And always keeping them into the system that we see on the screen right now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So,
always. Because it's a collective sport. This is a situation and collective sport. Okay.
You know,
it's not an individual sport. No es un juego individual. Es un juego de equipo. Y el arquero es he have the advantage he have the advantage to take the ball with the hand. It's only this.
That's the only
play.
Yeah, I love that approach. Yeah, I love that approach, because, you know, there was an article which I think I got a chance to share with some of you guys that says, you know, how come the goalkeeper never wins the Ballon d'Or, right? And the goalkeeper never wins it. I mean, if you look at it, the only one that was close to winning it at some point was Yashin back in the day, a long time ago. And it's because the way we have been seen in the game is as if the goalkeeper is isolated. No one thinks about him. He's in the back. Whenever the ball comes close to the goal, we'll think about the goalkeeper. But no, right? Of course, I'm saying that not that people do this coaches do this at the pro level or at the college level, but it's the way it's being perceived. And that does work into the goalkeeper's psyche. It does work into the goalkeeper's frame of mind, if you would, that we need to change, and we need to get them out of there so that they understand that they're part of this whole system. And this is why we need to change that paradigm, where the way they're being trained should be in this way, right? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Just to move forward here, I know we're coming up on an hour. I just want to get into a couple of last things here. If you don't mind, Coach Leandro, if you can get into this right here, which I think was very important, very quickly. I just want to ask a question here in terms of, you know, the goalkeeper's emotions. How do you decide when you're looking at a goalkeeper that has to be, you know, you got to determine, okay, whether I'm going to sign this guy, you know, or Coach Leandro, you got to also determine, okay, I got to think whether we're going to sign this guy. What are you guys looking for? I know these are, you know, some of the, you know, traits that you guys look into, but what do you guys look into a goalkeeper when you are going to sign a goalkeeper at that level? Is there anything specific, Leandro?
Giuseppe? No. For me.
Oh,
For you, Leandro. For you, Leandro.
Bien, si me puedes repetir, perdón que te perdí, Andrés, un poco, de las emociones.
You're at that pro level, right?
Yes.
How do you interpret this in order to make your decision as to whether or not you bring a goalkeeper into the organization? How do you, ¿cómo manejas esta situación donde estás viendo todas estas variables y tienes que tomar una decisión para ver si traes a esta persona o no al club?
Bien, bueno, ahí entramos en otro plano, te respondo un poco en español para algunos que están escribiendo en español. Aquí para mí esto sucede con todos los intérpretes arqueros. En cada uno de ellos va a haber las dificultades, va a haber cuestiones de dificultades que se le van a presentar en el juego, va a haber una historia, va a haber un entrenamiento previo, va a haber un conocimiento táctico, y la realidad es que las emociones que aparecieron tanto en el último tiempo, realmente lo que hemos notado en los últimos años, lo que yo he percibido en los últimos años, es que marcan muchísimo la diferencia entre el rendimiento de un atleta y otro. Y es difícil de medir, es muy difícil de medir eso, porque en realidad lo ves, esta parte emocional, cuando se enfrentan en la competencia a esas emociones y tienen que convivir con esas emociones. Es muy difícil evaluarlo en otro contexto que no sea el juego real de la competencia. En el entrenamiento las emociones no son las mismas, y todo eso que puede tener, todo el talento, toda su habilidad, puede ser potenciado o no por este aspecto emocional. Entonces, el análisis sobre alguien que tú quieres incorporar, o sobre el rendimiento real de un arquero, cuando ves todas estas variables, cada día noto que es más importante el control o el equilibrio emocional, que es esta palabra que ha aparecido en los últimos años y que me gusta utilizar mucho, que es lo que le va a permitir tener el rendimiento acorde a sus capacidades y a su talento natural. ¿Sí? Si no, las emociones pueden limitar de alguna manera el nivel del rendimiento de ese portero.
Okay, very good. Giuseppe, can you help us translate that a little bit, or at least just the overall concept he's trying to get into?
Well, you asked that question about, bringing goalkeepers in and what you're looking for and, things like that. I think at the end, there's so many different pieces, but I'll tell you what I like to do. And yeah. I want to turn it around in a different scenario. As a goalkeeper coach, you have to remember, like, you also tend to move around too if you're going to move around, and you're especially in the pro level. So what happens if when you get called to come into a team and the goalkeepers are already there? That's the question you should ask, rather than trying to pull goalkeepers into you. Now, years ago, when I first I trained a goalkeeper from River Plate, Danny Vega. I came to Danny Vega because Danny Vega asked for a goalkeeper coach, and they brought me in. So for me, it wasn't that I brought Danny. Danny brought me, and then I had to I have some great models out there that I look up to at goalkeeper coaches that are around the MLS and around the world that I was able to get some information from. But how do you put yourself to a goalkeeper who has the experience and's been around for many years and has top quality? How are you going to build a goalkeeper to be able to sustain your information and be very open to how you want to train and maybe change certain things that they have done for many years, right? So it's different. If you bring a goalkeeper in, you can do a lot of research. You can figure out what he's done and what he's done. You have Y Scout and other programs out there that you just click on it and you can see everything: passes, conceded goals, mistakes, distribution, shot stopping, anything you want. But the idea is to get the person in front of you, the goalkeeper, and to figure out, can they buy into you and can you buy into them? Can they help you be a better goalkeeper coach? And can you make them a better goalkeeper, right? And that's the development part of it, because many goalkeepers also develop the coaches. And that's important to remember, because I've been given this question before, which is like, do you control the goalkeeper, or does the goalkeeper control you, or do you work to understand each other in the actual training scenario and on and off the field? And that's what I think is important, that there's two pieces in the whole thing, so you have to kind of recognize it too. I've got into a spot where when I first went to Danny Vega, I was a little afraid, because here's a top River Plate goalkeeper that traveled around the world, and I know where he came from. So now how does he get his direction from me, and take the direction, says, yes, I like what he does as a goalkeeper coach, and vice versa. You have to think about the two. So I think it has to be an open dialogue, opinions stay to the side, and can we fix things to make it better? And if you can make it better, whether it's tactical, technical, nutrition, physical, and maybe outside life, what's the family like outside? Where does he come from? What does he do? What does he doesn't like? I think you need to learn all that stuff before before you bring a goalkeeper in. And if you get in there, understand who your goalkeeper is. Andre, you're on mute.
There you go. Yeah, no, thank you guys for that explanation. I think it's very thorough. I think that's exactly, the way it is. And a lot of folks have questions on that. And I think this is one of the ways we're able to answer that. But nonetheless, I do want to finally just get into the last topic, which is, it's not very much, but I do want to, before we leave, I do want to get everyone in tune with what we're going to be doing in Florida. And again, this is going to be our first annual Keeper Max Goalkeeper Fest, which will be in collaboration with CEFARC. We'll be doing the Global Goalkeeper Workshop Clinic, and of course, that will also include the Global Goalkeeper Workshop for coaches and the Keeper Max Goalie Wars Tournament. So I just want to mention this to everyone out there who is looking to do something in December. This will be a one-day event, and of course, you need to come in. If you guys are interested in coming out, your team, all your goalkeepers, please have them log into keepermax.com, and right there, you guys will be able to see both both activities, and you guys can definitely register to come and be with us for the whole day, which will be a lot of fun, a lot of goalkeeping insights, and of course, the whole idea of exchanging information and just not being afraid to grow, which is what we want to do here. We just want to make sure everyone grows, and everyone is willing to cooperate and work together. So yeah, other than that, last few words from Coach Leandro. Coach Leandro, last few words from you,
yes,
please.
last few words in Spanish too, for
in English
for
is
the
good.
people. Yeah, but for the people.
Oh yeah.
Porque bueno, nada, simplemente agradecer. Thank you very much for you, Andres, principally for Giuseppe. I'm very happy to this union, to this goalkeeper union, for this event we go to do at December. Muchísimas gracias a los que se conectaron, all the persons who connected, y los esperamos. Ojalá podamos vivir esto. We like this in the field at December, y intercambiar todo esto en el campo, todas estas ideas, este paradigma, y seguir creciendo y seguir aprendiendo. We go to learning together, and we hope this. Así que muchísimas gracias a vos, Andrés, principalmente, porque sos el partícipe de esto que están haciendo, porque sos el que se acercó y el promotor, y a Giuseppe, que hace años venimos hablando de hacer esto. Ojalá en diciembre salga como pensamos. Nada más. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Leandro. Giuseppe, last few words from you, man.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Andres, for inviting me in onto this. This podcast is great. It's always great to exchange ideas with you and then Coach Leandro at the same time, and then everybody who actually logged on. Which it's great to share. It's nothing is really like a written rule. It's fun to know how different it is out there in this world when it comes to goalkeeper coaches and training mechanisms. The one thing that really doesn't change is what the field looks like, right? I think that at the end, as much as we can share it to each other, we can also take so much from each other and put it back on the fields. And I think the more you kind of, just learn from others, you'll be a better coach no matter what your age is. But I wanted to thank you, Andres, and I look forward to, being at the Keeper Max Goalkeeper Fest on December 27th, right here in Plantation, in my backyard. So, and if anybody, needs to reach out or whatever, I'm on there also, and then you can reach out to me. But Andres and Leandro, thank you so much. And thank you so much for all the people who are online right now. I appreciate that.
Wow, those are great words from both of you guys. And of course, I am also very thankful for you guys and trusting me in this whole initiative. We couldn't be done without both of you guys. We're very happy for that. And of course, I just wanted you guys to know that this is the first of several. I think it was a learning. This was a little learning curve because at least I had never been on a YouTube live, or I had never been on this kind of cast before, but we'll get the hang of it as we move along. But I'm very happy to say that this will be the first of several learning series that we will be conducting. So we'll keep everybody posted on that as we move that along. And other than that, just thank you guys. I hope everyone has a good evening tonight, and look forward to seeing you guys at the Goalkeeper Fest, and of course our Global Goalkeeper Workshop. Thank you all. Have a great night.
Oh, bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.